Welcome, everyone. My name is Natalia Domagala, and I currently work as the head of data ethics at the Central Digital and Data Office in the UK, although this paper doesn't represent the views of my organization. I'd like to present a submission number 63 called Data Ethics Skills, Professionalizing Data Ethics in the Public Sector. The aim of this research was to scope and understand what kind of skills are needed to work in data ethics in the public sector. And the main research questions that I explored are as follows. Firstly, what is the purpose of having a designated data or AI ethics person within an organization and what the role should entail? Secondly, how do data ethics skills differ from data science skills? And thirdly, what specific skills are needed when working in data ethics? And this paper outlines the research process of the development of the data ethicist role for the Digital Data and Technology Professional Capability Framework in the UK. And Digital Data and Technology, DDAT for short, Capability Framework, was published in 2017, and it has been designed to help improve consistency across various data, digital, and technology jobs in the UK government. It sets out a common language to describe those roles and defines skills needed for each of them. The framework facilitates government transformation as well as personal development for DDAT professionals. And it also helps identify skills gaps in the wider public sector. And the gap in the data job family, the data ethics skills gap, was one of the things that we've identified when working with this DDAT capability framework. And as you can see here, it's available online, can be accessed on gov.uk. Before I move into the details of skills needed for data ethics, I'd like to discuss what data ethics actually is and what it means to do. So the overarching aim of data ethics can be summarized as promoting responsible and sustainable use of data for the benefit of people and society. And in general, data ethics is a cross-cutting discipline that critically assesses the wider societal impact of technology and data, and it's supposed to produce actionable recommendations for other data professionals, for example, within a public sector organization. And data ethics also involves thinking about fairness, accountability, law, moral dilemmas, and various risks involved in the creation of technology, data, products, and various policies. And due to the complexity and multidisciplinary demands of this field, there is a need to have designated data ethics positions, especially in the public sector, to make sure that there are people on the ground able to provide research and expertise in data ethics and can act as champions and change agents for this area. And various data ethics roles have existed in the private sector. The Guide to Responsible Tech, produced by All Tech is Human, provides a really good overview of emerging data ethics professions in the private sector. And some of the roles featured in the guide include, for example, AI ethicists, activation leads for ethics in society, chief AI ethics officers, chief ethical and humane use officer, ethical AI lead, and others. And this guide confirms that AI and data ethics jobs are really essential to the successful product and project development in many of the big tech companies, and that there is a need to employ data ethicists with a very different and diverse skill set, for example, social science background and critical thinking. In terms of the public sector, developing data ethics strategies and products also requires those specialist skills. And although there are many existing skills frameworks for data and technical professionals, there are also courses available for public servants in the UK to upskill on data and tech. There is a lack of well-defined courses and upskilling programs for data ethics specifically. And these issues have also been raised in the National Data Strategy and the consultation response to the strategy. So the UK government committed to supporting data scientists and data policymakers to build lasting capacity for ethical data use. And they reiterated this commitment with a pledge to develop this data ethicist role. The approach to research and methodology in this study has been informed by the open government ways of working, and it has been collaborative and participatory. Their main source of data was a survey with a sample of 50 data ethics professionals, and that survey was available online for anyone. It was completely open, it was available for anyone to participate. And as you can see here, the majority of respondents actually were from the public sector, but the sample also included private data ethics professionals from the private sector, academia, civil society, and the media. And the survey had a list of skills. Most of the data skills were taken directly from the DDAT capability framework. And there were skills such as data engineering and manipulation, quality assurance, validation, data linkage abilities, understanding analysis across the product cycle, logical and creative thinking, applied math, statistics, and scientific practices, proven IT and mathematical skills, and that was complemented by a list of more data ethics and social science specific skills, as well as policy skills, such as ability to quickly read and interpret complex documents from a range of sources, knowledge of social science, problem solving skills, experience translating technical information for a non-technical audience and vice versa, domain knowledge of existing schools of thought, uh, communication skills, data literacy, project management skills, networking and engagement skills. And the mix of those skills was presented to the sample, and participants were supposed to choose up to 6 skills that they think should be prioritized when developing data ethics capability. And the survey was complemented by a workshop with 25 data ethics experts and professionals from the UK public sector, featuring guest speakers working as data ethics specialists and consultants in the private sector in the UK and the US. And the aim of that workshop was to work with practitioners to crowdsource the information on the purpose of having a designated data ethics person in an organization, and also define what the role should entail, and further identify and shortlist this set of skills that are needed to develop successful data ethics policies. The findings from the workshop were analyzed using a thematic coding technique, and they were then combined with the survey results to serve as an evidence base for the draft description of the data ethicist role. In terms of having a data ethicist within an organization, survey responses and workshop contributions really emphasize the need for a designated data or AI ethics person to connect and mediate between different parts of the organization, and to provide practical support on embedding ethical considerations in data and technology projects. And such support would include, for example, helping teams embed data ethics into project delivery, and also helping to choose data ethics tools and frameworks that are most suitable for the projects. Other suggestions included championing and coordinating data ethics across the wider organization, and translating and sharing ideas between teams. And responses also emphasized the importance of building and cultivating external connections, especially when it came to academic research and civil society groups, and communicating those new developments in the field to colleagues across the government. In terms of how data ethics skills differ from data science skills, a survey and workshop responses emphasized that data ethics skills are focused on understanding the society and the broader social and economic impacts of technologies and the norms that it helps create and shape, whereas data science is focused more on specific project delivery aspects and technological capabilities rather than their social implications. And some of the insights included the following definitions. Data science is gathering and drawing conclusions from data. Data ethics is making sure those conclusions and the methods for collecting them are moral. Or data ethics is about knowing what you should do. Data science about what you could do. And the responses stress that data ethics is a big picture discipline that should present a holistic view of the data lifecycle and various risks and harms that could happen at each phase. And the data science focuses on a more specific extraction of value at each stage of the data lifecycle, and various technical aspects such as coding, cleaning data, doing the analysis. And there was a lot of emphasis on data ethics as a space for negotiation, where it is necessary to rethink various objectives and perspectives of data ethics and data projects more generally. The respondents also stressed that data ethics skills are generally not taught in many data science courses, And that is really important to introduce those data ethics components to various data science courses. In terms of the skills, the majority of the survey responses have very heavily favored social science and humanities skills as opposed to traditional data science skills taken from the DDAT capability framework. And findings from the workshop and the survey led to identifying the following key skills as essential when working in data ethics within the public sector: communication skills, knowledge of backgrounds in social sciences, engagement and collaboration, ability to draw together, analyze, and critically evaluate information, data literacy, product development and management skills, and finally, empathy and inclusivity. And these skills were further refined to comply with internal DDAT capability standards, and they were harmonized with the existing skills categories and the skills catalog to avoid duplication and encourage the use of skills that already exist in the framework. And this is the final list of data ethics skills, and I will now describe them very briefly. Communication skills that in practice mean the ability to communicate effectively across organizational, technical, and political boundaries, and knowing how to make complex and technical information language simple and accessible. Then applied knowledge of social sciences, which means that you have the knowledge in anthropology, economics, sociology, philosophy, psychology, race theory, or any other social science discipline. You are a critical thinker with a social science or humanities background. You can operationalize and implement the wealth of this theoretical knowledge from social sciences, and you can use it to inform data projects, products, and policies, as well as to evaluate various challenges and assumptions that are made in data science projects. Then stakeholder relationship management, which is all about identifying, analyzing, and managing relationships with and between stakeholders, communicating with stakeholders, clarifying mutual needs, and working together on data ethics challenges and projects. Analysis and synthesis, which means that you have the ability to draw together, analyze, and critically evaluate information. And this can include the ability to quickly read and interpret complex documents from a range of sources and distill to what's relevant. This is also about turning research data into clear findings that can inform policy decisions and knowing how to involve others in the analysis process. It's also about following the latest research and maintaining the links with various academics and researchers on data ethics. Then bridging the gap between the technical and non-technical, which means that you can translate technical concepts relating to data science, software engineering, delivery management, service management, so they're understood by everyone. And you can also mediate between people and communicate with people from various backgrounds. You need to have a strong understanding of how technology works. You need to have data literacy. You need to be familiar with the jargon, and you need to be able to actively support data scientists to implement data ethics policies. Product development. In practice, this means that working in data ethics involves creating various frameworks, guides, and other resources for practitioners. So you need to be able to develop those tools and translate those theoretical principles into practice. In order to do so, you need to know how to use a range of product management principles and approaches and understand user needs. Empathy and inclusivity means that you have an inclusive approach to consensus building, you have an ability to incorporate disparate views of underrepresented groups in evolving products and policy work. That could also mean that you're involved in the wider organizational diversity and inclusion agenda, and you can actively draw on your multidisciplinary background and lived experience to understand the various consequences of data systems on a diverse range of stakeholders. And you have a thorough understanding of social issues such as types of existing biases, discrimination different groups can face, and you're able to use this knowledge to inform your data ethics work. Ethics and privacy means that you understand the ethical considerations of potential data science approaches, that you know the legislation applicable in this area, you're aware of the existing data and AI frameworks within the government and externally. Problem solving means that you can identify and prioritize problems, you can document their causes, and you can implement remedies. And finally, facilitating decisions is all about making and guiding effective decisions and explaining clearly how those decisions have been reached. These skills have been added to the DDAT capability skills catalog, and they now form the role of a data ethicist. And the DDAT capability framework is a document that constantly evolves and is constantly being revisited. So this by no means is the final version, and those skills will most likely be further iterated as this agenda progresses. Thank you very much for attending this presentation. I'm really looking forward to answering your questions.